music to the noise, yeah, the mess we make. Machine Pun Kelly, get caught in the fake. Facts and logic with a twist of jest. Strip it down to truth, yeah, forget the rest. Human blood blows the lies right out of the park. Look beyond the shadows that set the dark. Sparks of laughter fire up the night, bringing clarity when they blur the fight. Cut through the chaos, yeah, the tangled lies. Steampunk Kelly with the sand clear eyes. Truths and jokes gonna rock this show. Step into light where the real facts glow.
What is going on here? Just a second. Nobody can hear me, I know. Okay. Where is that? Hello? I hope you can hear me. Okay. Sorry about that. Hopefully you can hear me. Can you hear me? Woo, buddy, that was a bit of a catastrophe there. I'm hoping that you can hear me. Looks like I accidentally had my laptop connected to my headphone, and so it was going on my headphone. All right. Well, that was a lot of fun. Oh, I need to do this. All right. So anyway, if you can hear me, which I hope you can, welcome to the Pun Show. Sorry about all that awkwardness there. So I wanted to talk about a few things today, and the main thing I want to talk about is the Iran war and how it's affecting the economy. Hang on one second. Can you check on your phone if you can hear me on my podcast? Sure. So the whole catastrophe there, or with the Iran war, I wanted to talk about how that's going to affect the economy and how it's already affecting the economy. And I want to talk specifically about the stock market, but also the economy at a larger scale, because I think it's something that maybe we're just talking about the price of gas, which is important. But gas is not the only thing that depends on oil. Okay. So my wife says that she could hear me on that. Anyway, thank you to those who bore with me during my embarrassing moment. But so I'm going to talk about the stock market, but I also want to talk about the larger picture here, and how it's not the only thing that is affected. So let me pop this up here to give you an idea what I'm talking about. Actually, we'll get to that later. For right now, I also wanted to talk about a few other things. Marjorie Taylor Greene, her seat is up for the primary elections, and these are not like your typical elections where it's the Democrats nominate one person and Republicans nominate one person. Oh man, and now I've got to plug in the stupid thing. I am sorry. I was running late. And wow, we're just total chaos and amateur hour here today. All right. Didn't have my laptop plugged in. We were going to go out of batteries. All right. So Marjorie Taylor Greene, her seat is coming up. And as you might guess, that's a pretty red district, right? So there's almost zero chance that the Democrats are going to win this. Like, I'm not even going to talk about that. But what I do want to talk about is what would be considered a success for the Democrats in this incredibly deep red district. I mean, it's Marjorie Taylor Greene's district, you know. She won 64-36. I looked it up. So she got almost 2/3 of the votes. And the same guy she beat is running again. And so I think, you know, in terms of people that have shifted, there are like 13 people. I think there's 13 Republicans running and 3 Democrats running. And so what I want to do is I want to just pay attention to what it's the same guy that was on the election that's the favorite of the that's the Democrat that's supposed to get the most votes. I want to see if he gets more than that 34%. If the Democrat in that district gets like 40% of the votes, or is even the leading vote getter, they'll have a runoff against the top 2. So he could be the leading vote getter and not win. But if he gets north of 40% of the votes, that is a significant story to tell, because that means that these really diehard, deep red MTG hang on, I'm just messaging Kitty here. So it's like if they get that would mean like some really true diehard MAGAs are shifting, not so much for the Democrats, but against the Republicans, against Donald Trump. I think that there is some chance that could happen, because one, she's not in the most urban district, right? Like, I think there's a lot of farmers and stuff that are affected by Trump's economy, that are affected by the affordability crisis, that are affected by the fact that their hospitals are going to shut down. I think there's a real possibility. I have a friend that actually he lives in Tennessee, but he teaches in MTG's district. So I'm going to ask him what he thinks about all this. He's a professor at college there. Anyway, that's what I'm looking at there. I'm not going to look for the Democrat to win, but I want to see what that Democrat gets in terms of a total percentage of the votes. So hang on, my for some reason my laptop is not plugging in. Did I? Oh no. Okay, that's not cool. That's why it's not plugging in. I'll be right back. There we go. It's quite the adventure today, isn't it, Kitty? I'm sorry. All right. There we go. Now we're charging. You weren't here at the beginning when I had my stupid headphones connected to the laptop. I couldn't find my headphones, and anyway. Oh, it's a chaotic day. All right, that's the oh, what do we got here? Kitty sent me some Decision Desk HQ delivered. So I don't know what So, all right. Anyway, so I think that today, boy, I'm having a terrible day. This is like my worst podcast ever. So, but that's all right. You know why that's all right? Because today my Azure order came in and I got some tough flour or some tough grain that I'll make into flour. And you know what you make with tough flour? You should make that Ethiopian spongy bread, which is just super duper yummy. So I get to make that. I forget what it's called. What is that called? It's called injera bread. I get to make some injera bread, although it takes a couple of days. It's really easy. All you do is mill it, and then you soak it in water, and then it's just like sourdough, but all you have to do is just soak it in water for like 2 days, and then ferments all by itself, and there you go. Anyway, hey Kendall. Kendall is not inspired by my incredibly amateur podcast. I'm sorry, Kendall. I earned that. I'll have to say I earned that, Jan. I earned all 7 or 8 of those. I'll see if I can do better the rest of the show. So that's the first thing I want to talk about. Just MTG's district. I just want to see what percent the Democrats get of that vote today. I don't think it's going to be, anywhere near the majority. But if they get 40%, that's a significant shift. A 5 or 6% shift in a deep red district like that would be really, really telling. The next thing I want to talk about is just this language that Pete Hegseth and Donald Trump and they all keep using to describe this war. The number of times they use words like death and kill and these barbaric terms. So there was this whole thing. They blew up the school, and a Tomahawk missile blew up the school, and we're the only country that was firing Tomahawk missiles. So it seemed pretty obvious that we fired the Tomahawk missile that blew up the school. And so first they lied about it and said it was Iran. Well, Trump did. Well, they blew up their own school. We had some people on the show yesterday leaving comments about how it was really Iran that shot the school, and they just blew up the school to blame us. Because that's the way MAGA thinks. MAGA just has to find the most ridiculous talking point and then adhere to that. Anything to avoid admitting that Donald Trump and his administration could ever do anything wrong. Everything is somebody else's fault, especially the things that are his fault. But I just can't help but wonder how all of this has a downstream effect of our standing in the world as a national leader, and how there was this there was this report about Putin was giving Iranians targeting information for U.S. troops. And then Trump was asked about that, and he said, well, I called Putin, and he's trying to help. He's doing everything he can do to help. It's like, help who? The Iranians? I mean, this is so Trumpian, you know? He's sitting there. He's literally taking Russia's side against America. He should say Russia first, because that's his entire foreign policy, apparently. So, yeah, that's annoying. Anyway, I just prefer presidents who aren't sociopaths. I don't know why that's difficult for some people to handle. Like there's just the whole thing he said about the school. Well, I can live with it, you know. Like he said that. I can live with it. It's like, you know who can't live with it? The girls you killed. So, anyway, I wanted to just touch on those two things real quick before I get into the main thing, which is I wanted to talk about the economy and how the Iran war is going to have an effect on the economy. Let me, hang on. Let's try this again. Everything is going wrong today. Trump saved the petrodollar. What does that mean, that he saved the petrodollar? What is a petrodollar? The petrodollar system is the practice of pricing and trading global oil in U.S. dollars. Established in the... Okay, well, I don't know how you think he saved the petrodollar, but whatever that means. Okay, so here's something. The petrodollar is dead, and that's a big deal. Well, it didn't get big headlines. This is from 2024, 2-year-old article. So, okay. I don't know what that's all about, so, and I don't want to speak off the cuff. I can't get this chart to download. So I think what I'm going to have to do is I'm just going to have to share the image on the screen. Okay, China. Yeah, I don't know anything about the petrodollar. China got cut off from Venezuela and Iran. By maintaining the U.S. monopoly the over international trade. By maintaining the U.S. monopoly the over international oil trade. That's not even a sentence. Are you trying to say by maintaining the U.S. monopoly over the international oil trade? The U.S. doesn't have a monopoly over the international oil trade. I don't even know what that means. It will strengthen the dollar against the yuan. Just thought maybe everyone needed to hear you are enough, you are strong, you are needed, you can do anything you strive for. All right, let me ask ChatGPT. I'm trying ChatGPT out because everybody hates Claude. Okay, I'm just asking because there's just so much involved in that. Okay. All right, so this is what ChatGPT says. It's just such like this is. They get these weird talking points, MAGAs. They get this whole thing, and it's like these fringe conspiracy nonsensical stuff, and you don't know what's real and what's not. And then they exaggerate things, they hyperbolize things. All right. So this is what ChatGPT, I said, does the war with Iran save the petrodollar? Short answer, no. A war with Iran does not save the petrodollar. It must contemporarily reinforce some of the dynamics that support the dollar, but it doesn't have to solve the structural forces pushing the world away from dollar dominance. The petrodollar system emerged in the 70s after the U.S. reached agreements with major oil producers, especially Saudi Arabia, to price global oil in U.S. dollars. That created a feedback loop. Countries needed oil. Oil is priced in the dollar. Countries hold dollar reserves to buy oil. Those oils often flow back into U.S. assets, treasuries, banks, etc. That demand for dollars helps sustain the dollar as the world's primary reserve currency. Okay, well, that all makes sense. What a war with Iran actually does economically right now, the main market effect of the conflict is oil disruption risk. The Strait of Hormuz, through which roughly 20% of global oil flows, is at risk, pushing prices sharply higher. What then happens? Oil prices spike, energy importers scramble for supply, investors moved towards safety assets like the dollar. In fact, analysts note that if a conflict disrupts U.S. oil supply, the U.S. dollar tends to strengthen relative to many currencies. So in short term, war can and reinforce dollar demand. So you'd say, so why doesn't that save the petrodollar? The petrodollar's future depends on how oil is priced globally, not just temporary currency flows. And several long-term trends are weakening it. The de-dollarization, more oil trade is happening in other currencies, especially Chinese yuan and local currency deals. Countries that fear sanctions, Russia, Iran, some BRICS states, are actively building non-dollar payment systems, multipolar currency system. Many economists expect the future to be multiple reserve currencies, not just the dollar. War can accelerate that because it pushes some countries to avoid U.S. financial leverage. The ironic possibility of Iran war can actually pull in the opposite directions. Oil shock, investors buy dollars, dollar strengthens. Long term, more sanctions and financial weaponization. Countries seek alternatives to dollar trade. Petrodollar influence slowly erodes. So the same event can temporarily strengthen dollar while weakening the system behind it. One more nuance, the original petrodollar bargain wasn't about Iran, it was about Saudi Arabia, Gulf monarchies. U.S. security guarantees in exchange for dollar-priced oil. Iran has actually been outside the system for decades due to sanctions. So war with Iran doesn't really determine the petrodollar's fate. The Iran war might boost the dollar temporarily through energy shock and risk aversion, but it does not save the petrodollar system. Okay, let me ask it one more question because I'm asking, does this affect the wealthy in the U.S. more than the middle class and poor? Historically, wars and the economic shocks around the world tend to benefit wealthy asset owners more than middle class and poor. Not always in every sector, but the overall distribution. All right, so this is another case of MAGA cheering that the rich get richer while the middle class and poor pay higher gas prices, and then running victory laps around their own stupidity and acting like I'm the dumb one. All right, so because I don't stay vested enough in. Do you mean to be on the screen, Kitty?
Mm-mm.
All right, it will strengthen the dollar against you. Okay, it's a really big deal. Yes, I guess that's what you learned on Right Wing Radio today. Oh, oops, mistyped. It will. Oh, why did you bring? It will distract the public from the Epstein files and zero arrests so far. No idea of global economics, says the guy who thinks that terrorists are paid by the country that the tariff is on. It's a time for a new beginning. All right, now, not weird. It's basic. No, basic macroeconomics. No, it's not. It's not, dude. It's not. It's not this big thing, and it's not even like. Do you guys realize? I want to like. First of all, I went through and I read the whole thing, and you're wrong according to at least ChatGPT, and there was a logic laid out, which nobody will actually engage with the logic of it. Also, I want to point out that the whole oil industry itself is a dinosaur at this point. And I don't just mean it used to be dinosaurs a few million years ago. I mean, like the oil industry itself is on its last legs. The rest of the world is moving to clean energy, whether we are or not. There's only so much of that in the world. And we're sitting there, we're clinging to this idea that oil is going to somehow save us. No, it's not. The BRICS nations would have tried to undercut the price of oil and blah, 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 blah. So somehow that means we should go to war with Iran. We're going to Iran over the petrodollar. Is that what you're saying? Are you trying to vindicate that we went to war with Iran because of the petrodollar? So let's talk about how, other than this petrodollar thing, which only helps the rich, let's talk about how the actual war with oh, hey, I support Trump, but not when it comes to putting boots on the ground. He saved Petro. No, he didn't. He did not save Petro by taking Venezuela. Venezuela doesn't even have any oil coming out of the ground from taking it over yet. They're years away from even getting any of that oil. It's crappy oil. It's not, dude, you need to change the channel. Right Wing Radio Bro thinks it's 1970. I'm not the one that's bringing up something that happened in 1973. Support freedom for God, wisdom, but not killing you. Terrorists are paid by Iran. That's why we call the... Okay. But we're the ones who blew up a school full of schoolgirls. We're the ones that killed a bunch of little girls. Like, just sitting there screaming terrorism so you can start a war. We've been to that show. We watched that sport before. We spent 20 years watching this so-called whatever we do is justified because we're fighting terrorism thing. No, we're not doing that again. No more forever wars, remember? Hey Brett, how you doing? Yes, it is. No, the idea that it's not, the entire world is shifting towards green energy. That you don't know, that just means that you probably think, you are probably so caught up in right-wing stupidity that you think that climate change is a hoax. It's not that we're going to run out of oil. We're going to run out of like the actual fact that it's destroying the planet. Dude, we're going to run out of civilization before we run out of oil. We've got planet changing, climate change happening right now. He wants to get all oil places to control the world. No, it doesn't. And like, this is sociopathic. You're like sitting there using war like, oh, well, the dollar, this is good for the dollar. Our war is good for the dollar. Yeah, oil's no. I don't even know what that's supposed to mean. Oil, big energy is producing clean energy. But when you produce, the more we pivot to clean energy, the less and less reliant we're going to be on oil energy. Clean energy has all kinds of benefits over fossil fuels. The green alternatives are too sustainable. And the technology is improving. So right now, yes, there's oil. We still need some oil. I'm saying that it's not the future. The future is green. Do you understand how like the time-space continuum works? Like, things that will happen have not happened yet. Things that will happen, that constitutes the future, John. I'm talking about the future. Oil is not the future. Oil is barely the present. Yeah, we need some oil still. But China, I think, over 50% of their new energy is clean energy. They developed more clean energy just last year than we have, period. Yeah, there are other countries that are developing clean energy. And yes, there's still some things we need to do to improve things like storage capacity. And while we're figuring that stuff out, fossil fuels still have their place. But the more clean energy we have and the more clean energy we can use, that means that less of our energy needs to be fossil fuels. Like, I don't even understand how some people don't understand that. We do not have to get to where we can be 100% capable of relying on clean energy to start moving towards clean energy. Like, you realize that, right? Like, that's not a hard concept for you, is it? Like, as we can grow our way into clean energy, and the more we grow our way into clean energy, the less reliant on fossil fuels we'll be. And that's a good thing. It's a good thing because, one, our grandchildren will still have a sustainable planet to live on. Like, do you understand that climate change is a real thing? It's not something made up. I know that Donald Trump told you it's a hoax, but the laws of physics don't really care what Donald Trump said. Hot moves towards cold. That's all you need to know about climate change. That's all you need to know, is that higher energy transfers to lesser energy. That's all you need to know. That's climate change in a sentence. I am Iranian. Don't believe. Doesn't mean that if Iran is lying, does not mean that Donald Trump is telling the truth. Donald Trump's a liar too. I don't even know what that's supposed to mean, that they're not sustainable, in all honesty. I think he means maybe like you can't live 100% off of green alternatives. But like, I mean, it's just if you have green energy, like let's say 100% of your energy is reliant on oil. And then you get to where 20% of your energy is green energy. That means you only need oil for the other 80%. And then if you get to 40%, then you only need oil for the other 60%. And yeah, well, maybe, you know, the sun's not shining today, so you have to use a little more oil that day. But yeah, this is interesting. You know what state? I think it. Want to say I'm pretty sure the state that actually uses the most clean energy. You know what it is? Texas. Did you see the 2 posts I put on your? Yes, I did. You're talking about the guy that overheard them talking about the Iran war on the day it happened, before it happened, and one of them was singing "Bomb Iran." 2 more weeks at most. Yes, good thing you know that, Mr. Prognosticator. How do you know that? When will it be over? What will be the end of it? Like, how will you know when it's done? Like, what has to happen for it to be over? Like, if you can't answer that, then how do you know it's going to be over? And if you don't know how do you know when it's going to be over? How do you know when it's going to be over? And you can't know how it's going to be over because the administration can't even keep a story straight on it. Donald Trump can't even keep his story straight on it. There is still no total clean energy. There is cleaner energy. I mean, like, this is what you do, right? Like, this is, I remember one, like, first of all, if you're talking about the windmills and all of that kind of stuff, there's so much disinformation out there. Okay. Yes, it takes energy to build a windmill. It also takes energy to get oil out of the ground. But no, it does not take more energy to build a windmill than the windmill produces. Like, if that's the kind of weird direction you're trying to go down. Don't believe China, they lie. Okay, Donald Trump lies. You do know Donald Trump lies, right? Like, you don't believe everything he said, right? You're not that dumb to believe that he never lies. I mean, and China, it's not just taking their word for it that they have clean energy, dude. Don't just assume, don't like just, oh, China said it, therefore it's a lie. Like, that's not very good logic. Come on. Okay. There is literally a finite supply, so we can't always use it, right? We need to move to clean energy if we expect to survive 1.5 to 2 generations, right? I mean, we are not talking about, we're talking literally kids being born today could be living in a considerably different planet. And like, this is the Republican way, or the climate change denier mentality of climate change, is that the water's just rising, and so we're just going to lose a couple of inches of coastline. That's not the rising coastline. In some ways, yeah, it is a concern, but that's not just what climate change is. Climate change is, I'll try and explain this quickly. If you ever hold your finger up against a window, you can feel your heat, the heat from your finger transfer, especially if it's a cold day. You can feel your finger, it feels like a draft on your fingertip. That's actually the heat from your finger moving towards the cold air that's in the window. And that's heat transfer. And the greater the difference in temperatures, the greater the speed of the heat transfer. And so that's why the colder it is, the more you feel that, like what feels like a draft. It feels like cold air is blowing on your finger, but it's actually the heat from your finger drifting towards the window. And the more difference there is in that, the faster the transfer goes. So when you're talking about climate change, what happens is that it's not like the planet is all warming up, but it's not all warming up at the same speed. The North Pole is heating up faster than the equator. And you have all kinds of climate systems, currents and wind systems and things like that, that are determined by this difference in heat between the equator and the North Pole. And so that difference in temperature, because the North Pole is heating up faster than the equator, that temperature difference is getting smaller, which means all those winds and currents and everything like that, they're slowing down, which is changing entire wind patterns, entire current patterns, entire sea life things. And then that also affects things like in Europe, we're going to have, because the heat from the Gulf of Mexico is no longer warming up, Europe's going to actually end up very soon getting colder. It's going to change the monsoon seasons in India. Places right now that are like, you're going to have where right now there's the right amount of rain during monsoon seasons for farming. They're either going to become too flooded or too dry, because everything's going to get messed up with the climate. Climate change means the change in climate. It doesn't just mean it's getting warmer. It means actual changes in climates. And the same thing affects the higher up in the atmosphere versus closer to the ocean. As the ocean warms and the atmosphere does not warm as fast, then what happens is you get the conditions that make hurricane severe amplify. So the hurricane systems themselves get more intense. You don't necessarily get more hurricanes, but you get more and more intense hurricanes, which is why right now it seems like every year we have a once a season, a once in a generation hurricane, because that heat difference is growing. We are like, I think our 10 warmest years on record are the last 10 years. This it's not a fake thing. This is not something that some liberal professor at Berkeley made up and somehow got rich doing it. Like this, it's a real thing. And we really need to be urgent in trying to prevent it. We don't need to defend oil companies and their billionaires. And we don't need to be going to war with Iran to save the petrodollar so that we can preserve the petrodollar. Nobody, okay, saying it's not going to happen anytime soon is missing the point. We do need a whole new grid. That is true. But not just because of the because our entire grid was basically built in the 50s when our needs for energy were like a tiny percentage of what they are now. And there's all kinds of things like transformers and stuff that we actually we can't even use those transformers anymore. So we do need a whole new grid, and that's part of the holdup. But that doesn't mean that we shouldn't do it. Like that's saying, oh, you're saying we can't do it because we need to do it. That's kind of, I don't even know how to respond to that. Yeah, we need to do it so that we can transfer over to more green energy. There are certainly challenges, but we need to take those challenges. We need to accept those challenges. We could be spending money on this instead of going to war with Iran. We have $1 billion a day to go and blow up children, but we don't have money to buy to modernize our infrastructure for our grid. Lithium batteries can't be the future either. Pennsylvania car fire required. What are some of the clean engines? Energies: sun, wind. Yeah, solar and wind are two of them. There's also other things. There's thermal or geothermal. I think, I know that not everybody is cool with it, but I think nuclear energy, I think, we should maybe consider more nuclear energy. It's not entirely clean. It's not renewable, but it's a lot cleaner than fossil fuels. China is using all forms of energy because their demands are so high, yet we have politicized energy source. I use EVE 21700 cells, but I hear there are even better lately. Yeah, the whole, like, when it comes to things like batteries, innovation is the mother of invention, or necessity is the mother of invention, right? Let's be innovative. Like, let's not just say, oh, well, this is bad, therefore we have to give up. Those are excuses, not reasons. By the way, I have an electric car. Guess who hasn't had to pay more for gas? Sun and wind are two practical, clean energies. Does not hurt to make it radically cheaper. Only 20% of crude oil is used for fuel. That's actually something I wanted to bring up. I think that was actually let me go ahead and see. I was trying to download this, but I wasn't able to. Shoot. Okay, share screen. Things derived from oil. All right. So that was actually this. I could not, for the life of me, get to download for some reason. But these are. Can you even? It's too hard to read. All right, let me go up here. So these are some of the things that we get from oil. I wanted to bring this up because this is also impacted by the oil price going up, right? So food containers, plastic bottles, grocery bags, packaging materials, PVC pipes, vinyl siding, credit cards, car dashboards, toys, electronic casings, 3D printed filament. Major petroleum plastics include polyethylene, polypropylene, polystyrene, polyvinyl chloride, PET, used in drink bottles, polyester clothing, nylon, spandex, acrylic sweaters, fleece jackets, microfiber cloths, synthetic carpets, upholstery fabrics, detergents, dish soaps, laundry pods, solvents, paint thinners, adhesives, synthetic rubber, sealants and caulks, lubricants, antifreeze, refrigerants, Vaseline, makeup, petroleum jelly, lipstick, lotion and creams, hair gel, shampoo, nail polish, perfume solvents, deodorant, sunscreen ingredients, candles, crayons, food packaging coatings, wax paper, floor wax, polishes, surfboard wax, ski wax, asphalt roads, roofing shingles, waterproofing materials, sealants for infrastructure, syringes, IV bags, medical tubing, disposable gloves, prosthetics, some drug ingredients, capsules and pills, fertilizers, pesticides, herbicides, plastic mulch shelter, greenhouse film, irrigation tubing, chewing gum base, guitar strings, contact lenses, artificial heart valves, laptop casings, disposable diapers, synthetic food flavorings, and insulation foam, solar panel components. Is that what you're thinking of, Terry? We're on the same page there, although I don't know if it's for the same reason. But I think it's important that we, like, when the price of oil is jacked up to $1.10 a gallon, or when it's going up like this, and we focus on the price of gas going up, we got to look at the price of all those things going up too. And that's in addition to Trump's tariffs. And that's in addition to the, just how devastated the entire manufacturing community has been because of Trump's tariffs. So it's not just that one thing. Dude, I went to school with the children of one of the hostages in Iran during 1979, the hostage crisis. I went to school with kids whose parents were held hostage. I know how bad Iran is. I'm not saying Iran is okay. I'm just saying that doesn't make what we're doing okay. It's not a choice between Iran being good and Iran being bad. Texas. Yes, and Polymarket. Yeah, Texas uses the power of windmills to pump. Is that what you weren't watching Landman? There was a scene in Landman where, is it called Landman or whatever? They had this, gotcha where he, points out that that they actually use more energy to build, and they're only good for getting the oil out. I mean, they do use it for that, but they don't just use it for that. They also have a lot of, I think we have, Texas produces by far the most wind energy in the United States, accounting for over a quarter of the nation's total wind generation. Okay, so what percent of Texas energy is clean energy? Approximately 30% of Texas's total energy is clean energy. And that's all I'm saying, is keep getting that percentage up. Solve the problems as you can. And as you solve those problems, the energy will become a larger and larger number. They've made massive improvements to solar panels just in the last few years, to where they've gone up like 30% more efficient. Like we're getting better. And that's because that's because there's a financial incentive to do it. Like, we need to actually pursue that. Asphalt is also endlessly recyclable. Asphalt. The junior high kid in me always laughs when I hear the word asphalt. I always think that's like your butt crack is your asphalt. Yesterday, when the stocks were a lot to crash, Trump called in a false statement saying that the war would be over to bump the economy for a moment. And that's actually, if I ever get to my stupid slideshow, that's what I want to talk about is this stock market volatility and how that actually benefits the Epstein class. Transition to clean energy will take years. Yes, nobody's confused about that, John. Nobody thinks that we're going to be 100% on clean energy tomorrow. Would you like to argue that circles are round next? No. Do you think that anybody is confused that the transition to clean energy will take years? Do you think that nobody understands that? Do you think I don't? Do you think that that's giving me some elucidation on the facts? Obviously, it's going to take years, but let's make it take fewer years instead of more years. TDS, the real TDS. Terry, even if it's not man-made, which it is, why wouldn't you try to stop it? Oh, it is 100% caused by man. I mean, right now we're at the second since man existed, where this is the second highest carbon levels we've had in the atmosphere. And it took us like thousands of years for it to warm up like that the first time. It's taken less than 100 years this time. It's not just that it's as bad as it is, it's how quickly it's gotten there. And it just kind of happened to have started around the Industrial Revolution. It's like 1 + 1 = 2. This is not a realistic thing that actual scientists argue about. So if China and Trump are lying, who says I believe? What am I not supposed to believe China about? Why do I believe China is telling the truth about its increase in clean energy? Because they are. I mean, it's verified by people other than China. Without petrodollar, we wouldn't have a country. Oh, all this, what would we be without the petrodollar? What do you mean we wouldn't have a country? What is that even supposed to mean? We won't have a country. What will we be? What would we be without the petrodollar? A province? A territory? What would we be if we didn't have it? We wouldn't be a country. What would we be then, John? That's one of those stupid things that Donald Trump says. Oh, you won't have a country anymore. What will we have? What will be in its place? That's just such hollow, meaningless rhetoric. If you go to the poles on the planet, it's melting like crazy, and there's a small black carbon dots in all the ice since man started burning fossil fuels, which attracts more sunlight heat. There's like several tipping points that there's kind of like no return, because one of the like there's certain things that once, like if it gets too warm, it's going to release a bunch more carbon. And I think the permafrost is one of those things. You don't need a whole new grid. The grid is constantly upgraded. No, there's a bunch of things we really, really need to invest in our grid. Because like some things they can't even update to clean energy because like it's like things don't plug into each other or something. Windsard, it's a fact. There's many sidewalks in Florida that are and there's buildings that are collapsing because the foundations are crumbling because the water is elevating. But it's like water rising is only one of the aspects. I mean, this is not climate change. I'm just saying, climate change is not a debate. It is a fact. It's not something that's going to happen. You know, people are like, well, if it was going to oil the ozone layer. This is like one of my favorites. So when they talk about the ozone layer, you were worried about the ozone layer and that never happened. And, you know, that's because we did something about it. We stopped using, aerosol sprays. And we like made severe changes to prevent it from getting worse. And then it got better. But the ozone layer was able to repair fairly quickly. What's going on right now, it's going to take millennium to repair. Many Inuit villages in Alaska have been flooded under the ocean. I think, Kitty must be hiding comments because I'm not. If everything in life was perfect, we wouldn't be here. Yeah, if everything in life was perfect, well, we would be here. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. Trust what I say. I don't like paying for gas as much as the next person. You want to pay less than, what's up? Rising sea levels cause sunny day flooding, submerging Florida's low-lying sidewalks and roads during king tides as the climate change accelerates. Google is free. Yes, it is. The sea level. What makes you think that the sea level isn't? Do you think that people are making it up? Do you really not believe the sea level is rising? Is that just your refusal to believe it? Did Alex Jones tell you that? How do you know the sea level isn't rising? Why do you think that like every single scientist in the world agrees that it's lying, but we're supposed to take Wizard's word over it? That guy presents. Okay. Are sea levels rising? Yes, global sea levels are rising, and scientists have been measuring that increase for decades. Since about 1880, global sea has risen about 8 to 9 inches. The current rate is roughly 3 to 4 millimeters per year, and the rate has accelerated in recent decades. In fact, satellite shows the rate increase from about 2.1 millimeters per year in the early 90s to roughly 4.5 million millimeters per year by the end of the mid-2020s. So it's not like, why do MAGAs have to just deny reality? Israel or Palestine? Why not both? When Trump is done, I mean, like, why not a two-state solution? I don't know what that has to do with what we're talking about here. When Trump is done, the country and the people will be so rich. No, they won't, John. No, they won't. Like, no. The only people that are getting rich off of Donald Trump are people that are already rich. You are a disinformationist. We agree that when it comes to climate change and wanting green energy, we'll just agree. How can you disagree on how fast and achievable it can be to make the changes when we haven't discussed how fast and achievable it is to make you seem to be under the impression that I have like decided that all we have to do is starting tomorrow we can be all. Where did you get the notion that I think it's going to be fast? I haven't given you a timeline. So how can you disagree with my view on the timeline if you don't know what my view is? I'm not saying that we can do it in 5 minutes. I am saying that we need to do it as quickly as possible, whatever possible means. Need to leave these people alone. They're in their own legion, minding their own business, in which no one in this country has a right to put their nose in. Who are these which people are you talking about? I'm already floored that Grok has level 5 decision-making status in the Pentagon. Just 3 months ago, it was calling itself a Mecha Hitler. And it's been revealed that the administration uses AI for every single decision they make lately. They used Claude to plan the Venezuela invasion. Plus, AI is using up all the water. Yeah, that's the thing that we don't quite talk enough about it. And it doesn't use up the water because it gets reused, but it definitely takes it out of the system. And I think it contaminates it to some degree. But yeah. And there are some places where there's not enough water to go around. And a lot of those places are where they're building these AI data centers. Although I don't like Donald or I don't know if it's his idea or not, but give credit where it's due. At least he gave voice to it. Elon Musk is talking about AI data centers in space. And that actually, if there's a way to make it work, would make a lot of sense, because then you don't need to cool them, and because they're in space, they could get solar energy, like unlimited solar energy. So, but I don't know how you make that work. But if you can make it work, that would be really, really cool. The best electric cars are made in China. Yeah, some of the electric cars, they're doing things like, I really wish we wouldn't just, China's lying. I know the China lying guy is gonna say that, accuse me of just believing China, but there's they have they have a system there now where there's a car company, and I think it's like they've done 40 million transfers or something. There's they have a car now where you buy the car and you can either buy the battery or rent the battery for like $100 a month, and you don't charge your battery. You go to the station, like a gas station, except it's like a charging station, and you don't go and plug it in and charge it up. It's got a thing where you pull up next to it, and it kind of docks itself. Your car docks itself, and then it swaps out your battery with the new battery. So you get this fully charged battery in like 2 minutes, and then it charges your battery, and then that battery goes to some dude in the future. And so you don't really, and then that also, like, as the batteries degrade, they just get taken out of the system. And so, like, that solves the whole battery degradation problem. Anyway, that's why I say we've just got to keep moving toward the future on this. That right there. If we did that, where we had the battery swapping thing here, that solves so many problems. Like, have every kind of car use the same battery and be able to swap at the same stations, and you just go 2 minutes, you're gone. Could actually fill up your car faster in a charging station than you do with gas. Anyway, and they pay like $25 a month for like unlimited fuel. How does that sound right now? They also they're cheaper cars, or they have one of the cheaper cars has like a 400-mile range. They're basically not top level. They're like the equivalent to a mid-level Tesla. That's why Elon Musk doesn't want them sold here. And they're cheaper. They're like $13,000 or something. Can you imagine that? A brand new $13,000 car that is more responsive than a muscle car, that has all the new age Star Trek technology, that you have, $25 a month, you have unlimited fuel. Kitty sent me a message. You know who's not as stressed about the oil? The windmill and solar folks. Yep. You know who's not stressed about gas prices? Me, with my Nissan Leaf. AI is going to fix climate change in a snap. That's why certain people don't worry. I do think that AI is going to help fix climate change. I think that it's already like in China again. Hate to bring up China to those who hate China. China has one way that AI is helping with climate change is it's increasing efficiency in the existing grid. It troubleshoots and it finds gaps and it finds ways to make it more efficient. I'm not an engineer, so I can't tell you how, but it's like makes them 20% more efficient. Another thing they do is this is really cool, and this is combined with 5G, is they have these 5G transmitters in the car, and they have 5G transmitters in the lights, the street lights. And so then the lights communicate with the traffic. They literally communicate with the cars in the traffic. And so then they look at traffic patterns and they adjust the lights with the traffic patterns to free up congestion. And it's like, I don't remember, like 25-30% less traffic congestion. So that means A, you get from point A to point B faster, and B, it means you use that much less electricity or energy in vehicles. So that's all I'm saying, John, is let's just look at what we can do and stop worrying about what we can't do. And if we keep doing what we can do, eventually we will be able to do everything we need to do. Yes, amazing Chinese vehicles. The Chinese EV U9 model can jump like a Yes, they can like jump. They have flying cars there. They have flying taxis. Tell them what happens when the permafrost melts. Yep. That's like, it's going to be a giant planet fart. That's what it's going to be. All this gas is going to, that's right now, all this trapped gas is going to just make things even worse. Yeah. Oh, climate change. Smiley face. Oh, like great response there, Napkin. Great response. So insightful, so full of logic and thought. How could AI fix climate change in a snap? You can't think it into happening. It can. This is. I did a show on this one. There are like real concerns about climate change and AI and how it can cause climate change, and real ways that it can help with climate change. It's not a one way or the other. Like one of the things is not to like to be smart with how we use AI. Did you like some of the things you're concerned about, Brett, like that use massive amounts of energy, like to create, you see these deep fake videos, those are a massive energy use. 1 4-second deep fake video that's like the really realistic kinds. 1 4-second video is the equivalent to putting your microwave on max for a full hour. It uses as much electricity as a microwave on max for a full hour for a 4-second video. It is. I'm not gonna dude, read a book. That's all I'm gonna say. At that point, who will pass this up? China. Well, then maybe we should be trying to keep pace with China instead of just saying that cows have been farting forever. Yeah, but we haven't been burning fossil fuels forever, and we also have more cows. Tell them about the methane in the permafrost. Yep, that's what I'm saying. It's a giant planet frost, or a giant planet fart. That's what happens with the permafrost. When we hit that tipping point, it's a giant planet fart. Planet Fart. That's what I'm trying to say. Look at a satellite photos of the methane release, especially over Texas and other. Yes. I'm a Republican, but I can say that I concur with about 80% of what you are saying. If we agreed on everything, it would not be normal. If anybody ever agreed with 100% of what I said, it would scare the hell out of me. Highly educated scientists versus Trump math, and people believe Trump. I must have been one of your other mods that. Oh, did somebody? Oh, must have been Kitty. Okay. So, yeah. It's only me, you, and Kitty, Brett, that can boot anybody. So I'm going to assume it's Kitty. Nope. Nothing. Nothing happening was banned. All right. A machine takes apart a car to replace a 1,500-pound battery in a few minutes. Dude, did it occur to you that when they designed the car with the replaceable battery, they designed it so that you don't have to take apart the car to replace the 1,500-pound battery in a few minutes? Did you even think about this? Like that they planned it this way. They didn't invent a thing that could change the battery. They designed the two things together. So, all right. So, since you're waiting though, and apparently not all that bright because you haven't figured out how Google works yet, I will go ahead and see. There you go. See, a new fully charged EV battery in 5 minutes are China's swap stations, the future of electric cars. So I'll drop this link in here so that you can see the link, and just in case you don't believe me. But yes, it's a real thing. They're just they're just smarter than you and did not actually like my goodness. MAGAs are really challenged when it comes to thinking. And now they banned Claude from use because Anthropic company would sign off on not using it for autonomous AI powered weapons. Well, to be fair, they also wouldn't let the Pentagon spy on American citizens. Skynet will be real soon. The Tesla is a piece of junk. Looks nice, but junk. Anthropic are also objected to popular. Also objected. Yeah, thank you. Chinese vehicles are awesome. The Yangwang U9 is up to 13 horsepower electric supercar from BYD that can jump using its active suspension. It can still find and jump. It can stand still, and so it can like jump. Like, is it right? Like it can jump over a car. Let me. How high can it jump? All right. Oh, here. What's going on here? For some reason. So here we've got.
The Chinese company BYD has built a car that can jump. The BYD Yangwang U9 is an electric supercar priced at $240,000, producing an impressive 1,300 horsepower, and its features don't end there. This car can leap over obstacles while traveling at 75 miles per hour by instantly processing data from its cameras and sensors, jumping 20 feet to clear the obstruction, all without a driver inside. That's not all. The car also has a dancing feature and can spin 360 degrees on the spot. Would you want to drive this car?
It dances, dude. It dances. Who wouldn't want a car that can dance? Because your car don't dance, and if it don't dance, then it ain't no car of mine. It can dance if it wants to. Okay, the climate is always changing, but have humans made it happen? Yes, humans have made it happen. Yes. And yes, climate scientists, people that like literally have PhDs in this and have been studying it for years and years and like their entire lives are aware that climate is always changing. This is not like something they hadn't considered before. There's climate patterns. They're like, this is taken into consideration. And if you're not convinced, it's because you haven't done the research. Do the research and tell me you're not unconvinced. And I know you haven't done the research, because if you had done the research, you wouldn't be saying the climate is always changing. Because when you did the research, you would know that they had considered the fact that climate is always changing. I don't care what the politicians buy. I like whatever that means. I don't care. The climate is changing. Less than 1 day after the government banned Claude, somebody used a model extraction attack, also known as a distillation attack, against Gemini AI to try to extract the model. I wonder who that was. I like my battery-powered scooter. Come on, you have a computer, obviously. Search, my man. I think for practicality, they made it jump lower, though. That is cool. Like, if it could just, like, imagine you're driving down a mountain and then a log has fallen and blocked the road. And, you know, instead of having to swerve and hopefully not drive off the mountain or slam on the brakes or whatever, you could just jump over the tree stump, the fallen tree. Like, that would seem to be a real safety feature. Not to mention, if that car is not in the next Fast and Furious movie, I'm going to be pissed. They need that car in that movie, because that car was made. I'm sure they designed that just to be in one of those Fast and Furious movies. He runs into MAGA constantly. Oh, is somebody mad at me for something? Yeah, I don't think it's in my budget. But boy, it would be a fun car to have. I mean, they fight like hell to make them born, but as soon as they are born, they cut off all the federal funding. No, not Speed Racer cartoons. The Fast and Furious movies, John. You know, like with what's Vin Diesel in them? Which is funny. He never actually drives a diesel car. 40 miles per hour for a scooter. My battery scooter does. I don't know. Doesn't work. Anyway, so I'm going to pause and take a break here. I'll be back in a couple of minutes. Need to take care of a situation. Anyway, I'm still tripping about the dancing car. It's like Herbie the Love Bug has come a long way. Well, you all have a lovely day. I am too ignorant to talk about movies, as I don't watch movies. Ta-ta. Well, don't know how to use Google either. If I could afford it to put a 1,300 horsepower electric engine in my 67 Camaro, I would do it. I've seen lots of old muscle cars be converted to electric. Yeah, I mean, like my Nissan Sentra or my Nissan Leaf is not a. It's not even like one of the nicer. It's not even. It's kind of slow for an electric car. If I'm being honest, it doesn't have the same. It's still peppier than I used to have a 1993 Ford show, Taurus show, which at the time was a really sporty car, but it's more responsive than my show was. And the show was like the sportiest car I ever had. All right. So I want to go into my slide deck today because I've been thinking about the stock market and how the stock market has been covered and you know, it's been volatile. It's been bouncing all over the place with right now. Okay, so today it was down about $35. So not it went down. It was down to the high was 47,771 or 48,220 was the high, 47,771. So even today was like a $400 swing between the high and the low. And that's a little more subtle. But and then actually kind of ends up being perfect because 47 seems to be fairly like it almost ended up where it started. It only the net change today was only 0.072% negative. And so I think we look at things like that and we're like, it's a wash. But there's something we don't think about, and that is the people who sell stocks and the people who buy stocks are two different groups of people. Some people, when it's this chaotic, the people that are losing money and the people who are making money are not the same group of people. And who does that benefit? Who does this kind of market volatility benefit? So the title of this slide deck is What If Market Crashes Make the Richer Even Richer? A Hidden Dynamic of Financial Crises. So what happens is crashes create panic selling. You have people that are like, no, I'm losing my life savings. And so they rush, they panic, they sell everything. But when they sell, somebody is buying that, right? So then the people that buy it, once everything bounces up, the people that bought it from them, they end up making the money that the other people lost. So who's losing money and who's making money? And this has held true. It was in 1929 with the Great Depression. It happened in the 2008 financial crisis. It happened in the 2020 COVID crisis. It happened with Liberation Day in April. And it's probably happening again, although it's too soon to say. So you have what are called forced sellers. Forced sellers, not forced sellers. Forced sellers. I invested in a 42 kilowatt spot welder for building my own. Oh, you're making your own battery? Yeah, your skills are beyond mine. I like struggle to change the battery in my key fob. So you have what are called forced sellers, and you have cash buyers. And forced sellers, one is just one kind of forced seller is just people that are just their whole life savings are caught up in this, right? They're losing their retirement, and they can't afford to risk losing it all. So they end up selling. And then you have people that, they can afford to take the risk. They have cash reserves. They have all kinds of money. So they can take the risk. They have the money to risk. The sellers don't have the money to risk. And then the other thing is you have what are margin calls. That that people that, they bought stocks on credit or whatever, and it gets down to a certain point, there's a margin call. They have to sell at that point. They like legally, they have to sell. So they bought it with leverage. The margin call came, and so then they're forced to sell. And again, you have on the other hand, side of that, when the stock market is in trouble, the central banks cut the interest rates for people to borrow money to buy stocks, because they cut the interest rate so people can buy stocks, because they're trying to get people to buy stocks so that they can balance out, or that they can supercharge the market. Now, who's going to get that credit? People that actually have more money, the wealthy. So you have the people that are in debt have to sell, and then the people that have money borrow money to buy, and then they make more money off of the money they borrowed. So already right now, 89% of all stocks are owned by the top 10% of Americans. The bottom 90% only own 11% of stocks. And when you have these situations where the rich are buying the stocks and the middle class are selling the stocks, you see this number grow more and more. And so this is another case. You see the crash, the rich, while the middle class are going down, the rich buy up what the middle class has, and so that 89% becomes 90%, or it was 80%. So I just want to, we'll get to this more in a minute. Let me just go to here. So this is wealth distribution in the United States over the last, since 1989. And you're going to look at this, and it's going to be a little bit deceptive. The blue line right here, that's the top 1% of the country. The orange line is the top 10% of the country. And the green line is the bottom 50% of the country. This is the wealth distribution. So these people, that's the top half, or the top 1%, own like 5 times as much. In 1989, they owned about 5 times as much of the wealth as the bottom half. The top 1% had 5 times as much wealth as the bottom half. But this has gone from about 7.5% or about 5% to about 3%. And this has gone from about 25% to about 33%. So this ratio right here, that's what we're looking at. They've gone from about 5 times as much money to about 10 times as much money. And not per person. That's 1% versus 50%. You see what I'm saying? Like, the rich people are getting richer and the poor people are getting poorer, and the middle class people are getting more poor, and the bottom 90% are getting poor. And this is only getting worse under Trump. And when you have things like the stock market crashing and then rebuilding and going back up really fast, Trump thinks that's good. Because for the Epstein class, for the people that hang out in Mar-a-Lago, for his little, gaggle of pedophiles, it is good. They're all making money off of this. They're making money off of the war. Meanwhile, for us, like we talked about earlier, the price of gas is going up, but so is the price of everything else that depends on oil. The price of Tide Pods is going to go up, and the price of, plastic wrap is going to go up. Everything else is going up. All the wealthy keep getting wealthier. Everything that Trump is doing in this economy makes the rich richer. Mass deportations make the rich richer. It's the middle class and the poor that suffer. The tariffs make the rich richer. Like you know what happens with the tariffs is the companies that can front load and buy a bunch of, whatever they need to manufacture stuff, they buy it in advance. The family-owned businesses and the smaller manufacturers, they can't do that. They don't have the money to do that. So they have to buy it when it comes. And they have to pay the tariffs, not the other countries. John says, you mean poor people? More people are joining the poor and taking them out of the stock pool? I don't know. Some people probably are joining the poor, but this is more. I'm not sure I understand your question. I'm saying that when the people that sell the stocks to save their retirement funds, they don't wait for it to go down and then buy it back. They sold it to somebody who holds on to it. It's the people that are selling are not the same. They don't have that stock anymore when it goes back up. So they're not like losing money and then making money. There's people that are losing money and there are people that are making money. The people that are making money are those who tend to already have money. The people who are losing money are the people that need the money to like retire on. Those are people with the 401ks, not the people that, live off the stock, what they make in the stock market for a living. See that green line? I'm about a mile below that. This green line? That green line, you're about a mile below that. So am I. I'm this gray line right here. By the way, I think the top 10%, let me look this up. So here's a question. See who knows the answer to this without looking it up. What is the top 10% household income? How much income do you need to be in the top 10%? Make me, let me. Yeah, household is okay. Does anybody know? Does anybody want to guess? The answer is $250,000. So if you think you've got a six-figure income, you're in the top 10%. $250,000 household income. That's the top 10%. Most people are not in the top 10%. In fact, this might be hard. I know this is gonna blow your minds. 90% of Americans are not among the top 10% of income earners. Did you know that? There was a poll Al Franken used to always laugh at, that like 80% of people thought they were in the top 10% or something like that. People don't realize how messed up things are. Like, let me just show this chart again. All right. This is half of all Americans own 3%. 3%. Half of all Americans own 3%. I just want you to think about that. Half of all Americans, 3%. Half, 3%. And that's if you're making median income, you're in this part. Meanwhile, this 1% of America is making 33%. I think we'd think half of all Americans are making the 33%, right? And then the 1% making the 3%. Nope. They have what these guys should have, and these guys have what they should have. And that's not an equal share of the pie still. But this is the way that our brains process this information. That we think we're sitting there arguing over crumbs, and it's just the size of the crumb. Meanwhile, you have people in this top 1% that literally will never be out of money, never have things they can't afford, never have to look at a price. They like all their bank. If you taxed Elon Musk $50 billion every year, he would never notice. It would never impact his life in any way at all. We have this mentality in our country that obscene wealth is a right, but healthcare isn't. That just ludicrous amounts of money are a right, but children having food isn't. We are so off kilter. Our national soul is so immoral that we would rather have children starve than Elon Musk taxed. It's disgusting. Do you know how much $500 billion is? That is way too much money for one human being to have. And don't give me all this, well, it's all stock equity or whatever. I don't care. I don't care if he has to sell stocks to pay his taxes. Make him. Poor people have to sell their houses to pay taxes. That would be homeless. Well, not that bad. I just live beyond my means. Without looking it up, I don't know. $1 billion was way off. Regular people should have invested and defense contractors and private detention centers. Regular people typically don't have enough money to invest. That's part of the problem. By the way, hi Daddy. Did not see you here. Welcome. Hope you're doing well. How you doing? Regular people should have been, yeah. That's part of the thing is a lot of people just don't have money to invest. When you're sitting there and you're trying to decide whether or not you're going to pay for your medicine, your kids' food, the heat, or your mortgage, you don't really sit there and go, gee, I should really invest in detention centers. When I know you're not being serious when you say that. But I know people that are serious when they say things like, well, that's because you don't invest any money. And it's like, no, it's because you don't have any money to invest. I'm not just a member. I'm also a client. I agree. It's when it's enough money. Best viewers streamboo.com. Remove the space. I don't have any clue what that's supposed to mean. It's crazy when people are as rich as hell and still do terrible things to get more. Like, what's going on with it? The insider trading with the administration and betting on war of all things. But he's not paying his 400. He's donating his salary, Brett. That's my favorite one. He donates his salary, which he doesn't necessarily donate his salary. But even if he does, so what? He made $4 billion last year off of being president. He's like getting paid for pardons. He's got people that laundered money for drug dealers. Like he literally has people that use crypto to launder money for drug cartels. He pardoned them, and they designed his own cryptocurrency that made him billions of dollars. Like, this is how corrupt they are. This is how corrupt they are. Now, he's so corrupt. He's so corrupt that if you just say as a matter of fact what he actually did, it sounds like some insane conspiracy theory. The billionaires could fix world hunger and still be billionaires. That's an interesting question. I'm going to ask. How much money do all the billionaires in the world have combined? So all the billionaires in the world combined, 18 to 25 trillion dollars. Okay. Roughly 20 to 25% of global annual economic output. Total household U.S. wealth globally is roughly 450 to 500 trillion. So 4 to 5% of all the wealth on Earth is owned by billionaires. And how many billionaires are there? This is like the amount of wealth that people have. 3,000 billionaires. 3,000 people own 5% of the world's wealth. Okay. So as a ratio, how much wealth does the average billionaire have to the average non-billionaire? See if he can figure out that math. So the average billionaire is worth about $6.7 billion. And the average non-billionaire is worth. So the average billionaire, and this is including other rich people. All right. The average billionaire has 120,000 times as much as the average non-billionaire. For every dollar the average non-billionaire has, the billionaire has $120,000. 120,000 times as much as the non-billionaire. That includes people like, are people like Bruce Willis that are just, like 100 millionaires, but not billionaires, are included in the pool for the average non-billionaires. The rest of the population of the world combined has an average of 120,000, or the average non-billion, the average billionaire at 120. Boy, I'm having a hard time talking. 1 billionaire equals the wealth of about 120,000 average people. That is insane. The median person on Earth has close. If you do the median, which is more important because that discounts the Bruce Willis types, the median person on Earth has closer to $8,000 to $10,000 in wealth. So the average non-billionaire has 54,000. But the median is 8,000 to 10,000. So if you were to take the average billionaire versus the median non-billionaire, this is just nuts. 670,000. The average billionaire has 670,000 times as much money as the median non-billionaire, which I guess would be the same as like just the median person, because there's not that many. Like, think about that. Why is that a right? Why is it that we consider that the one most sacrosanct right that we have? I always say this: Republicans, for all their talk about rights, the only right they really care about is mine. Oh, that's mine. You can't have my money. Can't have my guns. Mine. That it's like they are just all about selfishness. No taxes. No taxes. Taxes are bad. Tax the hell out of the rich. You want to go back? You want to look at this? You know what happened? And it goes back further than that. You know what happened? Tax cuts. Every time there's tax cuts for the wealthy, you have more money going to the wealthy. If you think that the problem with the economy is rich people don't have enough money because poor people keep hogging it all, then you're really, really stupid. That is the dumbest premise for economic argument that I could ever hear. And yet it's been the foundation of our entire policy for like 25 years or 45 years now. So yeah, billionaires could fix world hunger and still be billionaires. No politician should be getting rich in government, especially if they don't own a business. Yeah, I mean, what makes that's what makes that Poly Market scandal. What is the Poly Market scandal? I don't know about the Poly Market scandal. Angelina Jolie donates a lot. I like her. There are some. I have my wife has a friend that like used to work in Hollywood, and so I was asking her about like who is who's a good person and who's not. Like who are the actually like genuinely good people. And one of the ones that you probably will not be surprised to hear that like is actually as nice as his reputation says he is Keanu Reeves. I didn't ask her about Angelina Jolie, but yeah, like she knows Keanu Reeves personally and has spent some time with him, and he is as every bit as good a person as the legends say. For sure. Taylor Swift, although she's not really a Hollywood person, so she doesn't know them. But everything I know about Taylor Swift is she's like the same way. One time I was mentioning, about how she donated all her, she gave like every one of her on her tour. She gave everybody like $100,000 bonus, including like the truck drivers and stuff. And so I was mentioning that, and the tweet kind of went viral, and then found out all these other things she does, like she'll go on her Twitter feed and she'll this is really touching. She'll go through her Twitter feed and she'll find like followers that are like 13, 12, 13 years old, the preteen types, and she'll click on their profile and she'll look through their wish list or whatever, and she'll get them Christmas presents. And she doesn't just like have them sent by Amazon. She orders them to her house and she writes out a message herself on a Christmas card and she mails it off to them. Can you imagine, like, you're a 13-year-old girl and you get a Christmas present from Taylor Swift with a handwritten card? Like, how sweet is that? And had another guy that told me that he was like a venue manager, and they were setting up for her show, and she came out and she went around and introduced herself to all the people who were helping her, who were doing their jobs, and just said thanks. And he said that that's the only act he had ever seen do that. So anyway, kindness is underrated. I appreciate, things that people like Angelina Jolie or Keanu Reeves or Taylor Swift do. They're just kindness. They don't need to do those things, but they do. Somebody said it recently, MAGA is people with 6 teeth defending people with 6 shots. For some reason, that guy's analogy stuck with me. Hey, I've got a yacht for every one of your teeth. Wasn't Eisenhower's top tax rate? Yeah, it was 90% until... And then I think it went down to 80%. I have no problem with that. And it's like marginal tax rate, and people have tax. It's like people aren't really paying 90% of their income. I saw him a couple of times in WeHo. Is WeHo a city or a town or a village? Or I bet Trump hates Keanu Reeves. Well, Trump hates dogs. Trump would probably shoot Keanu Reeves' dog. Kelly, you've lost more weight. Looks good. Oh, Steph, thank you. Yeah, I'm down to 158. My top weight, I was 220. But yeah, the secret is really part of it. A big part of it is whole grains and milling my own flour. There's also I've got 3, I call them the 4 pillars of gut health. And they are, 1, eliminating super processed food, which is self-explanatory. Like frozen vegetables are okay, and like canned tomatoes and stuff like that are fine. But like your body needs to recognize it as food to process it. But the next thing is whole grains. That when you have whole grains, and I don't mean like whole wheat flour, but whole grains, like that you mill yourself, that really matters. A lot of the vitamins are in the whole wheat, and and process and wheat and white flour, they just get removed entirely. Like the bran and the sperm get just removed entirely. They're still there to some degree in the whole wheat, but the oil goes rancid, which is why nobody likes the way whole wheat tastes. But if you mill the flour yourself, it tastes a lot better because it's not rancid yet. But it also the as it goes rancid, you start losing the nutritional value as soon as you mill it. So if you mill it right away, it's got all the nutritional value. Um, but yeah, then there's prebiotics and probiotics and postbiotics. And without going into a big long story, but I'm actually writing a book about it, and so I might as well talk a little bit about it. I compare it to a train station, and your gut is like Grand Central train station. And what happens is the food comes down into your train station, and then your little probiotic guys, they unpack all that food. They repack it on different outgoing trains, and you've got these lines that go to your brain and to your liver and to your immune system and everything like that. All your organs and everything has like an outgoing train to it. And then it also has, it's a two-way traffic. So it also sends signals back to your gut to tell your brain to tell you what to eat. You know, it's like, I need vitamin K. And so then here, eat kale. And you need to have a healthy gut to be able to interpret those signals. And then the prebiotics are like fuel for your probiotics. They're like spinach is to Popeye, and they like keep your probiotics able to unpack all of that food and send it all out. And then your postbiotics are like the material, like their booty rates. Now, I was joking when I was thinking about this, the booty rates. I used to have a 10, but now, or an 8, but now I have a 10, my booty rate. But that's like the material that's used to repair your gut and stuff. So when you have a really healthy gut, you have this dynamic team of probiotics supercharged by their prebiotics, and you've got like a good infrastructure in your gut from the probiotics. So the milling fresh flour gives you, like, it's really high in what gets processed into booty rates. And your like the best place to get one of the best things for prebiotics is sprouting. And then one of the best ways to get postbiotics is fermenting. So I ferment my own yogurt, my own kefir, my own sauerkraut, and other kind. You know, I ferment. I've been fermenting a lot. So anyway, when you get a good healthy gut, your body just digests food better, and you have more energy. My brain is clearer. My mood is more stable. It has a lot of other benefits too, because all that two-way train traffic is going better. So anyway, and like here, like Brett says, I'm living in the city downtown since 22. Food desert, a lot of eating out in convenience stores. Yeah. You know, a lot of this, you can't substitute. But like I in the book, I say you can't outstation a terrible diet. Like you can't outstation junk food. But there's a lot of things, like sprouting is almost free, and you can do it in a house. You can do it anywhere. All you need is a jar. And then same thing with fermenting. All you need is a jar and some, something to ferment. Uh, kefir is, you pour the seeds in and you pour fresh milk into your kefir seeds and you wait 24 hours and then you strain the kefir seeds out to keep your kefir seeds and you have kefir. And your kefir that is homebrewed has like just so many more probiotics than anything that you buy. And your probiotics are actually a lot, they're a lot more assimilated. Like, like those store-bought probiotics they sell, those are a scam, because there's something called bioavailability, which is your ability to absorb the vitamins and stuff that are in the food. And basically those, like Flintstone vitamins or probiotic tablets and everything, they're just not that bioavailable. Oh, okay. Who is West Hollywood? Small business owners need a bigger tax break like private store owners, not Walmart and such. Yeah. I'm definitely for a progressive tax structure. And, like small businesses right now are really taking it on the chin with the tariffs. They're the ones that end up having to bear the brunt of it, because they not only do they have to pay for the literally pay for the tariff, because they're the ones that are importing it. They also have to pay for the tariffs, the increase of the tariffs of other stuff that they need to build their products, and they have to pay for the tariffs like we all do when we go, to the store and buy crap. So they're like triple hit by tariffs. Kelly, I'll buy your book when it's done. Oh, hey, awesome. I'm hoping to have it done in a couple of weeks. I really got into it. I only started writing it a week ago, and I'm already about 50 pages in. Eating right is a logistics challenge. It is, but it's not. And you just do it one step at a time. Like you can bake a loaf of bread in 5 minutes of actual work. If you get a decent bread maker, just put all the ingredients in, walk away, and then you've got bread. But you do need to plan it. You do need to schedule things. Pesticides in our foods. Yeah, this is true. Our pesticides, all my grain is like glyphosate free. Hate yogurt. Yeah, grow your own, dude, or make your own. If you got an Instant Pot, or if you got a sous vide, it's really easy. All you have to do is get a jar and get like the ultra pasteurized milk. As long as it's ultra pasteurized, you're okay. And then put fruit in the jar. Fill the jar like a quarter of the way with fruit. Then fill it the rest of the way with milk. Then put like a tablespoon of store-bought yogurt in there. And then come back in 8 hours and you've got fruit on the bottom yogurt. It's that easy. Some of this stuff is so easy that when you find out how easy it is, and then when you taste it and it's so much better, you're just like, whoa, I can't believe this. Like some of the things I post online, people are like, well, that's really good here. Like that, some things I make look really good. At least I think they taste really good. But like here. Okay. So like Here's a cake I made. I don't want to make it sound like I eat miserable food. This actually, the name of my book is it's called my diet. I call it the food diet, and the whole thing is the real key to dieting is to eat actual food. All right. So instead of what passes, like instead of super processed stuff, but a lot of it is making sure that you maintain your gut health. Oh, okay. So here, this is a cake I made. Does that look good? Would you eat that cake? So this is double layer triple chocolate cake. The cake itself is chocolate. I made it with fresh milled white, soft white flour, and then I sifted the flour to get it really, really soft. Then I put the bran in with the frosting, and then I made that's chocolate nibs right there as like a third chocolate, so it's triple chocolate cake, chocolate frosting, chocolate nibs. And then I made for the frosting, I made my own home fermented sour cream that I made. So that's a fermented sour cream or fermented chocolate cream, I guess I would say. It was really, really, it's like sour cream, and there's powdered sugar in there. I mean, I'm not saying it was low calorie or anything, but it was incredibly tasty. But anyway, I think that we one of the reasons that diets don't work is we have to force ourselves to eat it. So I'm trying to figure out ways to make super, super yummy food that is super, super healthy. But like people would still be like, I'd eat that. Would you eat that? Would you eat that cake? So say 90% fruit. So the food diet is actually for food, and you should actually eat things that are food. That's kind of my whole premise of that. And then it should be obvious that we should eat food, but it's not. And so second chapter is the next part is about how we tried to avoid eating food, and the average American spends $100 a month on fast food and wrecking their gut, and then we spend $50 a month on supplements and stuff like that to try to undo the damage we did. But because the damage is done, it doesn't fix them, so we're just wasting all that money too on these vitamins and supplements and probiotics. When eating out, I check out how I feel the next day. Don't go back if I'm feeling bad. Focus on restaurants using local bit. That's good. I stopped eating out. I have gotten so like it. I can't eat. I had, to put things in perspective, I had diarrhea for 25 years. Sorry to be gross, but it was processed flour that was giving me that issues, and I don't want to go out anymore. I'd rather just make my own pasta and enjoy it. I get vitamins through IV once a month. Get 80% use instead of 30%. Well, I guess there's that. But if you have a healthy gut, you can get it just through eating it. Dolly, I know that feeling, that gross feeling like in the gut the next day. Yeah. Yeah, and actually, if you have that feeling, at least you have that feeling. Like some people, I think their guts are so bad they don't even know it's bad. It's just completely dysfunctional. Mozzarella is really easy to make. It's like basically you boil milk. It's not much more complicated than that. Yes, and by the way, I'm putting some I have a website, machinepunkelly.com, and I've got a couple of recipes up there, including the recipe for my cake. Chocolate. It was well, that particular one I didn't come up with my idea for the chocolate frosting yet, but yeah, that was chocolate cake with fresh milled flour and without the chocolate sprinkles. Not a fan of any candy. Oh, that's not chocolate sprinkles. That's chocolate nibs. Those are cacao nibs. That are that's actually really, really good for you. You've become a food snob. I don't know. I'm really trying not to be that guy. Fruit. But yeah, I just, because I had so many stomach problems for 25 years. And then like what happened is I got long COVID. And so then I heard that like eating whole grains can help with that. And I bought a mill like 5 years ago. And so I said, well, might as well just try using it. And what's the worst that can happen? And as I got into it, I just spilled tea all over myself. As I got into it, I started getting better at it. I started learning how to bake. I started learning how to make good bread. And then I started learning how to do some other things. And then I started branching. Like I started making some things with sprouted seeds, or like sprouted wheat berries, and like sprouted grain bread, like Ezekiel. And then I just started doing sprouts, and then I was like, found out about fermenting and started fermenting. So it was like a gradual journey. And it's, I think that one day I'd stepped on the scale and I was like 25 pounds lighter. And I've never counted calories or eliminated food groups or anything like that. I just healed my gut by eating healthy things. By healthy things, I mean, like you can have like a well-balanced diet and eat all organic food and stuff. If your gut is not getting the prebiotics, the probiotics, and the postbiotics, and it's not taking care of itself, it doesn't matter how healthy your food is if your gut is not healthy. So we need to think of gut health as part of our food health diet. And in that sense, I've become a bit of a snob. Like, I'll admit it. Dolly, I know that feeling, that gut, gross feeling in the gut the next day. Better and saves the money. I was shocked how easy it is. Okay, it was. Oh. Vitamins through IV. I've never heard of that. When I used to work out heavy, my diet was just chicken, asparagus, whey protein powder, and creatine. The most bland diet in the world. Yeah. So that's a good segue. My third O, or my second O, is omnivore. Because the next thing about my diet is that you can eat anything you want. Like, you just got to figure out a way to make it healthy. Like that, like I did with this. I wanted a cake. I was like, okay, how can I make a healthy cake? And I made that bad boy is healthy. I didn't even have to feel bad when I ate it. It had nutritional value in it. And that's kind of that's my snobby Stephanie. That's my snobby take on things. Is doesn't matter what you eat, as long as it's food. I had a friend, I tell this story in the book. I had a friend one time. I went to a corner store and I grabbed a bag of Twinkies, and I bumped into this friend of mine on the way home, and she's like, "Kelly, what are you eating?" And I said, "Twinkies." she's like, Twinkies? That's not food. And I said, I know. And she's like, Kelly, you shouldn't eat things that aren't food. So that's kind of like, I went ahead and ate the Twinkies anyway. But that's my new philosophy is don't eat things that aren't food. But as long as it's food, you can eat it. So some things like got to figure out how to make it food. So I've got a recipe. I've developed one of my favorite comfort foods is fried chicken. So I've kind of got a recipe I need to try out. We'll see if it works. But kefir battered fried chicken with fermented fries. And we'll see how that works. It's okay. Your knowledge of food allows you to be a food snob, right? I want cake now. Where do you get the grain for the meal? Oh, that's a good question. I will drop a link in here. This is, I should mention that I am an affiliate here. So I do have an interest in this. But I get all my grain from Azure.com or from Azure Standard is what it's. This is the but they just go by Azure. And I have all kinds of, they have grains, they have all kinds of other stuff too. Here, I'll show you. This is this is like their food. They've got like all kinds of food. Like beans and peas and here. All food. So like baking and pantry, frozen groceries, fruits and berries, vegetables, grains, cheese, dairy, all this kind of stuff. They have, if you don't have a grain mill and you want to try baking with fresh milled flour, their flour is like milled right before it goes out to you. So if you mill it like as soon as it gets there, if you stuff it in the freezer, it should be close to fresh milled. And so if you wanted to just like figure out if you like the idea of cooking with fresh milled flour, it is so much healthier. They have gluten, like, so that's all the kind of food stuff they have. But they also have health and beauty, household and family, nutritional supplements, which I don't recommend buying nutritional supplements, but they also have like, if you want gardening stuff or whatever, it's a cool site. But yeah, if you want to try it out, you can use my link there. This is my webpage, by the way, that has some recipes on it. See, there's the bake. This is a brioche. These are hamburger buns and hot dog, or in sub buns I use. This is a brioche recipe that I developed. And also, if you're, this is, I'll show you, I'm also a affiliate with Nutrimil. And if you go, okay, this right here, this is my grain mill. They're sold out of them right now. Which is kind of sad. But, and then this right here, if you are interested in trying to do this, this is like, I recommend getting an actual bread mixer. This is what I have. It's an Artiste. And it makes better bread because it needs it from the bottom instead of the top, so it mimics the way you're kneading it by hand. So it, without getting into a lot of technicalities, it just like it doesn't heat the bread up and as much and stuff like that, which means the yeast doesn't start forming until, or the yeast doesn't really kick in until after you're done kneading it, which makes for better bread. But that's my mixer. And plus, a lot of people that start using their KitchenAid and they get one of the they use their KitchenAid. Fresh milled flour is a little harder to work with, and so yeah, people have burned out their KitchenAids on fresh milled on making fresh milled flour. So yes, my memory improved so much when I started eating more healthier than I already was, and yes, that is a huge thing. Is like your brain is actually affected by what you eat. Like it's mind blowing, isn't it? Like, oh wow, I never thought that my gut. Like, I mean, that's what I mean when I say obvious, because it should be obvious, right? That like, oh yeah, how you eat actually affects every part of your body, because every part of your body is affected by how you eat. Like that should be obvious. Supplements are expensive though. No, I don't use any supplements. I hate supplements. I don't think they're worth anything. It's what was that? Yeah, the supplements are just with that, there's this, like, as I've been studying, there's this thing called bioavailability, which is just because you eat vitamin C, you take a vitamin C tablet, that does not mean that vitamin C gets absorbed into your body. That's where the prebiotics, the probiotics, and the postbiotics come in, especially the probiotics. The probiotics, if you have vitamin C in your food, like you eat an orange, right? And then the orange gets down to your little train station, and your little probiotic workers go over there and they grab all the vitamin C out of the orange, and they put it into the train station that's going to wherever that vitamin C is needed. Then that's called bioavailability. It's the nutrition that's in the food is actually getting to where you need it to be. We think of the like you are what you eat, but it's actually you are what your probiotics repackage your food and send to is more accurate. The thing with supplements and vitamins and stuff like that is, since it's not food and your body has not evolved to recognize that as food, your probiotics aren't like necessarily treating it properly. And then it just ends up going wasted. So if you take 100, this pill that has 100% of your vitamin C, that does not mean you got 100% of the vitamin C you needed that day. What were we just talking about? That'd be nice to have a better memory. Some are. It was actually reasonable, and if I feel a flu or something coming on, I go and get an IV right after. You just do you just get that from your doctor's office? Or, I mean, like that would kind of maybe be a little different, because it's like going directly into your bloodstream. I never heard of that happening, but you don't have to have that happen if you got a healthy gut. I have yet to get going. I have to get going. Had oral surgery just prior to your stream. Everything's wearing off. Have a good night. Oh, sorry to hear about your oral surgery. Nobody likes oral surgery. Bye, Brett. You rest up. Getting intravenous vitamins you are definitely absorbing. Yes, I imagine. So, all right. I rambled on enough about my book. I appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching. Tomorrow, hopefully, I'll have a less of a weird show. But anyway, if you want, oh, by the way, if you want to get one of those artistes, I should mention, use the, if you want to get anything from Nutrimilk, use MPK 20, and you should get a 20% discount on everything except for grain mills. Because they're right now they're not putting, because the grain mills they just can't keep them in stock. Anyway, I will talk to you guys later. Hope you have a good one. Bye.